Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, we're going to be diving into some technical analysis on Algorand, and we're going to be taking a look at what's been going on most recently and what we might expect to happen next on those smaller time frames. But as we get into this, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with that said, done out of the way, let's talk about what's going on with this weekly chart to start. Here we do have two interesting Fibonacci's. We have one on the left hand side and we have one on the right hand side. So let's briefly talk about what is going on over here on the left, right? So on the left-hand side, we have the all-time high and we have a bear market low. Okay, so taking those two things into consideration, this allows us to see some kind of interesting projection on where Algorand could go next, or at least by the peak of the bull run. This shows us moving up to a 4.236 extension at $14.24. That would represent about a 758% move from our current position. So again, this just takes the all-time high and the bear market low. It does not take into consideration current performance. That's where the Fibonacci on the right hand side comes into play. Here we can take a look at the highs that we had during this nice push to the upside. This happened around February time, but we came close to also tapping on it in April. This area was a high point for us, and we then started to pull back down where we had a triple bottom occur. This was around May and June and again in July, right? So those triple tap at the bottom with a double tap at the top. Taking that performance into consideration, this Fibonacci allows us to see the current performance with the 4.236 extension coming in at $5.62. Personally, I think that this is a very small target, and I do think Algorand is likely to overextend from this. With that being said, I do think that the $14.24 is a bit optimistic, and therefore I'm going to be leaning really heavily on somewhere between our 2.618 and our 3.618. This is $8.84 and $12.18. I think somewhere in that in between these two areas is a nice sweet spot for Algorand, where I do anticipate us finishing the bull run. That being said, I would be very surprised if we do go up to $14, but I would be happily surprised nonetheless. And I do feel that we are going to overextend this because the performance has been a little bit lacklusting over this particular period here. So a 758% move isn't unachievable, and something that we could see happen with Algorand, as we have seen a bit of a pullback and things are definitely getting ready to have that next sizable move to the upside. So we can take a look at the stochastic on this weekly as well. Nice and oversold during these corrections that you can see here and here. And we are, of course, just coming out of this over bull area where we can then come back up here for quite some time as well. So overall, the weekly chart has very little wrong with it. It's a nice, healthy correction that we've seen plenty of times before. And again, you can take a look at these everywhere that we've actually pushed up to the upside. The significant pullbacks have occurred and we've recovered incredibly well. And I do anticipate us moving on nicely as we exit this month of September and go into October in a really strong way. So as we jump down into our daily view, this is where we can see the most recent kind of price action for Algorand. Here we can see that we are oversold at absolute zero. So if we want to start to see the price of Algorand actually go down lower, as in we want it to go down to, let's say, zero, for example, first of all, the price has to go up, okay? In order for us to go down lower at this particular point, we obviously have to see the price, first of all, move up. And this is something that we've seen already on the smaller time frames, such as the hourly, for example. But if we want to start to see these daily candles actually, drop down significantly, then we'd first of all have to see the price move up. So the expectation should be that as we finish the month of September, we'll be moving out of this area really strongly. And a good testament to this is obviously what happened previously over here during our lows of July. This took us to an interesting area where, again, we reached 0.04. Okay, reaching these absolute low areas were to send us then parabolic to the upside. We had a good motion to the upside with Algorand here, and there were some pockets of volatility on our stochastic, looking at all of these corrections as we moved to the upside. Now, obviously, coming from this overbought area as we were peaking up here, bringing us back down to this oversold area without actually reducing us all the way back down to where we were, allows us now to have a nice, good good push back to the upside. Overall, we are still above our 786. This is a pretty good area, but we have broken quite a few support areas that we were trading in previously. So what we're going to do now is actually jump down into our hourly view in this brief technical analysis and really break down what is going on most recently here and what we should expect to see happen next for Algorand. So Algo was trading inside this area for a while. We found resistance and support on this $2.15 area. This is an area that we saw traders were basically bouncing around all over the place before we kept going down, down, and down with these higher highs, also lower highs, and then ultimately found resistance here. We rejected with Bitcoin, bringing us down to our 786 area where this found strong support. Now, when we take a look at our stochastic on our hourly, we're oversold again. So our short term is bullish to look to the upside, and along with our daily, which is at absolute zero on our stochastic. So overall, our small time frame here of the hourly is looking to push to the upside. Our daily is looking to push to the upside, and our weekly is looking to push to the upside. Overall, we should be back into recovery and looking to come back up into this area here where we'll find this resistance line again. Obviously, there's resistance down here as well. This is another area that I think a lot of people were buying in. Again, we're going to push up into here in a nice strong way, I do feel. So ultimately, there's a lot of momentum behind this. And if we actually throw the volumes on here, we can see how during this last correction to the downside, we actually had the volumes decreasing over time. This allows us now to stabilize, and not in the same way that we saw over here with the volumes increasing as the price was pulling back. So overall, we're in a pretty good position. My expectations are on the smaller time frame that we are going to be pushing to the upside in line with our daily and weekly. And once we actually find resistance, then I think there's going to be a small pullback with the volume then dropping off after it's climbed up, drops off, and then we're able to stabilize around this area here, which would be putting us at around that $1.84, for example. Again, we take a look at where we were wicking it before. It actually came in about $1.82. So this area is going to be a major resistance block for us, but I do think we are likely to push up past it with back testing it and confirming it is a support line for us. This would be requiring a pretty good motion to the upside overall, and I do think we are likely to see this in the next few days and weeks. I think ultimately we're going to be right volatile until we get out of September and go into October, but once we get past that, I do think we're going to be in a really strong position for Algorand where we go in set new all-time highs. Overall, I am expecting volatility until we kind of get through the next week or so. After that, my expectations are that we should be looking very bullish and a good move to the upside, setting new all-time highs. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. It's a nice brief one. There's not too much to report on. It's looking pretty good, and I do think we're going to be correcting nicely to the upside soon. If you have found this useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new, why not subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.